Greetings, warrior. How much weight did you lose in the past week? The reason I ask is because I'm about to break down exactly my results in the past week going through Infinite's Warrior Gauntlet -1% body weight per week challenge. I'm going to be breaking down 3 core warrior attributes that we have at Infinite, and that's physical combat, nutritional alchemy, and mental intellect. I'm going to be diving deep into the data and analytics, breaking down each one of the stats that I'm personally tracking. I'm also going to be setting objectives for the upcoming week so that I continue making progress, and I'll be doing that for each one of these 3 warrior attributes. This is going to be very valuable for you if you are doing the challenge, or if you want to get an inside look into the mentorship experience that we have inside of Infinite. Sit back, relax, and get your notepad out, because this is going to be a great opportunity to learn so that you can make adjustments like the ones that I'm making, so that you can also lose at least 1% of your body weight per week with Infinite. So let's dive in. Let's start off first with combat. So I won't be going over skills for this video. I'll go over skills most likely in week 2 once I establish my skill tree, so to speak. But when it comes to progress photos, here is my starting point. So this is to me, this is not what I want to look like. You know, maybe to you, you might look like, you might think like, oh, this is not too bad. For me, I can't even see my abs anymore, and that's bad to me. And I've been training for over 15 years, so I definitely let myself go. You can tell I have some water retention, excess body fat around my lower abs. Very, very common amongst men and women. You can tell that I still have muscle mass there. It's really prominent, I would say, inside this back photo right here. You can tell I still have some back development here, but I'm not as lean. You can tell I have some love handles over here. So the whole point of this challenge is to get a jump start on and shed this extra weight that I gained throughout the Q4, going through the holidays, and move forward. So I really wanted to highlight the starting point here, and I won't be going over week 2. I want to kind of compare week 1, week 2, and week 3 in my next video, so stay tuned for that. The point of this video is the progress in the combat department, alchemy department, and intellect department. So let's see the results. My starting point, I averaged 194.04 pounds the week prior to the beginning of this competition on February 1st. And as you can see, I take the 7-day average of the weigh-ins that I have first thing in the morning, fasted after going to the bathroom, and this is the results I was able to achieve. After 1 week, I was able to hit 190.71 pounds on average. That's an approximate 3.3 pound decrease, and it's an approximate 1.7% of my body weight lost in a single week. Absolutely smashed the 1% body weight goal for the challenge for this week so far. Remember, the challenge is throughout the month of February. Just because I had incredible results in the first week doesn't mean I can't fall off the weeks following this one. So huge results. This is a big win, big dub. Absolutely smashed the goal, almost doubled, almost hit 2%. In my opinion, if I did that, even though it sounds good on paper, it's actually not too good from a long-term sustainable weight loss progress. But massive results, super hyped for. Body fat percentage, this is going to be all about the trend. As you can see, it looks like it went up. However, the way that I'm measuring body fat is not too accurate. I'm using a weight scale, and weight scales can be off anywhere between 40 to upwards 80%. So the reason why I'm tracking body fat percentage is simply because I would like to see at least a trend downwards in the next 4 weeks. So just something that I like to keep track of in the back end, because if we do measure the trend line, then we can obviously see some noticeable changes in body fat. But ideally what we want to do is go off of our measurements, whether that's through measuring tape around the waist, arms, chest, and legs, and a little bit different for women as well. But ideally, there's nothing better than what you see in the mirror. So I'm excited to kind of see the comparison on the week to week when it comes to my body composition, comparing progress photos. Now, combat steps. This is also a major change here. Average about 4,427 steps, and increased it to 9,000 steps on average. So doubled my step count. This was a huge, I would say, catalyst for my weight loss progress this past week, as far as upping my activity, going from being sedentary. As you can see, I had some days when I had 1,300 steps, 1,500. Then I have days when I have like 8,000, 6,000, very inconsistent. This was consistently 8,000. The lowest I ever had was 8,400 on a single day. So the consistency was there. It wasn't just upping it for one single day. It really hit that consistency component, which was a game changer. And that's the key when it comes to weight loss, is finding out a habit and sticking to it. And for me, the step count is a skill that has helped myself and a lot of the warriors here at Infinite. And currently my skill is at level 2 when it comes to my current step count average. Level 2 is around 8,000 steps. So I'm just below level 3. Level 3 is about 10,000. So we'll see if I make those adjustments going forward. So speaking of which, let's break down the objectives. So every week I set objectives. So going into week 2, basically, let's change these numbers here. So my goal is 1% per week. So basically what I need to do is, I'm currently 190.71 pounds. I'm going to be taking 1% of that. So that's about 1.9 pounds. So the goal is minus 1.9 pounds in the next week on average. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my current weight and subtract 1.9 pounds. So basically my goal weight by next week is 188.1 pounds. Boom. We just set a goal for the next week. And you could do the same too. It's really easy when we have a set goal on the week, a consistent goal on a week-to-week basis, which is 1% per week, because then we can wrap our head around all the things that we need to do to generate those results and progress. Body fat percentage, this one is a little inconsistent. As you can see, I lost 4 pounds and it says I gained 3% body fat. That obviously is, 1, physiologically impossible, and 2, it can kind of throw us off and demoralize us. So what I'll do is I'm actually going to eliminate that from the objectives and just stay focused on what I have control of. And next, let's do what I think I might do for steps is, I think I might increase steps to level 3. Reason why is I don't want to make a massive change to my alchemy just yet. If we can increase activity and still get to the 1% mark, that's going to be great, rather than reducing calories and reducing energy throughout the whole entire day, right? Because I want to go through this weight loss process with the most amount of energy. And the last thing that I want to do is reduce calories, because that makes it more difficult and adds more stress. So I'd rather add controlled stress that's going to adapt and turn into physical progress, whether that's in the form of improving my strength, in the form of either increasing or maintaining my muscle mass and things like that. But we'll dive a little bit deeper into the alchemy part in a moment. So basically you want to go to increase average steps to, I'm going to bump this up to 1,000. So that's going to be 10,000 steps for me. And that's going to be an increase of 1,000 steps. Okay. And I'm not tracking conditioning time here, because conditioning is very, very different inside the Gauntlet, because in the Gauntlet we changed the difficulty. We have what we call as a dynamic battle scaling system, and you can choose which exercises you want to do based on your skill level and difficulty level, and that's going to affect the intensity of your conditioning sessions, as well as the modality, whether that's going outside for a run, going on a treadmill, elliptical, cycling, whatever you choose. So just going to focus on body weight and steps for combat, keeping it super simple. Now let's jump into alchemy. This is where it gets interesting. So before the competition began, I averaged around 2,070 calories. As you can see, I did not track. I wasn't really tracking. I wasn't using my meal logging skill or nutrition tracking skill. Then I started to track every day. So what was interesting is I actually averaged 2,114 calories in the first week of the competition, which is an increase. Slight increase, but still an increase. The interesting thing is I increased calories, I increased energy, and still was able to lose about 3 pounds. Most people say, how do you do that? How's that possible? Well, I increased my step count, I increased my activity level, increased my calories. But here's the thing, in the process of increasing my calories slightly, I increased my activity more. And we'll get a little bit deeper into the strength training and activity that I did a little bit later, but this is a nutrition conversation that we're having. So very interesting to note. Protein intake is not quite where it needs to be. This is probably one of the things that I'm absolutely going to be making an objective for. So let's actually do that now. So basically what I need to do is I need to hit at least 165 grams, which is my current goal. And basically what this is 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. If you don't know how to calculate your lean body mass, then I recommend looking at another video that I've recorded either on YouTube, or look into the Gauntlet guide if you are inside of the challenge. So basically I must increase it by, fortunately, only 5 grams. And I absolutely want to hit this because as we get deeper into the weight loss progress, I want to make sure I maintain as much of my muscle mass as possible. And arguably I also want to recover better as well. 5 grams is very small, but again, I don't want to be making it a habit to be below the amount of protein I need. I want it to be a habit of being above the protein that I need. Let's check out carbohydrates. This is another interesting stat. Okay, so I went from 136 grams on average in the previous week to 152 grams on average. So that's an approximately 16 gram increase. And remember, the higher the carbs that you have in your alchemy approach, the more water retention that you're going to have from every gram of carb that you eat. So it's very, very interesting how I was able to increase my carbs, increase my calories, and still lose 3.3 pounds or 1.7% of of my body weight. See, carbs are not evil. I need it to perform for my workouts and also my higher intensity conditioning sessions. I also need it for energy throughout the day, cognitive function, and other benefits as well. So I increased carbs, increased calories, and lost weight. Pretty big win, if I do say so myself. But let's check out fats and then sleep to finish off alchemy. So for fats, decreased slightly from 100 grams to 98 grams. This is something that has been a little high for me. So I think I might, I don't think I'm going to touch it to this week, but I think if I do start to hit a plateau, this is one of the stats that I may change, probably the first stat that I change instead of carbohydrates. So something to keep in mind. And then last but not least, sleep. Sleep has not been good for me recently. Erratic sleep schedule. I'm definitely going to be focusing on my sleep skill and definitely improving that. And one of the ways I'm going to be improving that is really setting a hard cutoff as far as staying up. Sometimes I have a tendency to be hyper creative late in the evening. Sometimes ideas pop into my brain and I have a tendency to explore them late at night instead of shutting down my brain and checking out for the day and re-energizing for the next day. So sometimes that's okay, but for the most part, having a consistent sleep schedule is going to be a game changer, and that's something that I'm going to be working on the next week. Because sleep, averaging 7 hours, is actually below my minimum for this weight loss challenge, which is 8 hours. So I absolutely need to try to bump this up to 8 hours in the next week. Other than that, let's set up objectives. So current calories, basically at 2115, we're going to keep that exactly where it is. So the goal is going to be maintain calorie average of 2115, increase protein, and then what I'm going to be doing for carbohydrates is I'm going to keep that the same as well at a 152. So I'm not going to be making any nutritional changes other than protein. So we're going to maintain this 98 grams, and then we're going to increase sleep average. We're going to at least try to bump this up to 7.5 hours, which is plus 30 minutes. And that's alchemy. Cool. Last but not least here, intellect. One of the most underrated and very, very important aspects that most other approaches, most other strategies when it comes to weight loss don't integrate. And this is one of the things that I value the most. So I'm going to share with you some of the stats that I am I'm integrating into my approach here for the next few weeks of the challenge, starting with the upper and lower body quest completion. So the Gauntlet is broken down strength training and weight training wise in upper and lower body. So basically we split in upper lower body workouts and lower body workouts, and we have 4 total. And as you can see, I went from not doing any to doing approximately 50%. So I did half of the strength training workouts and still was able to lose this weight. So that's going to be one of the major changes that I'm going to be making as far as objectives going into the next week. So basically what I want to do is, this is a template, so I'm just going to adjust this. So I'm going to move this up. What I want to do is I at least want to get 75% is what I'm going to increase it to. So with 3 out of the 4 workouts, which is about a 25% increase. Right? Again, not shooting for perfection, shooting for progress. Progress over perfection. Next up, let's check out conditioning. So these are the dedicated conditioning workouts. Let's see the completion. I went from doing 0 to doing 100%. So there's only 2 inside of the Gauntlet challenge and the Gauntlet program in general, at least for this season. So basically, there's really not much I can do than getting better than 100%. So basically want to maintain the conditioning completion percentage at 100%. Then there's habit completion. This is the most neglected. It's all about your daily habits. Our daily habits culminate into the bigger picture that we paint for ourselves. I went from logging 0, no habits. Even though I was doing habits, I just wasn't logging it. Now I am, and I went from doing nothing to doing 85.53% of my habits. So, in my opinion, this is a great sweet spot for me. I'm not going to be shooting for 100% for habits. It's really about getting a large percentage. So, I'm just going to say, let's maintain the 85.5 for now. Going from 0 to 85% is great, but it's more about the consistency and the sustainability as well as the habit formation, which requires discipline and things like that, other skill sets. Last but not least, here we have nutrition tracking, or what I have here is meal logging. And I went from logging about 42% of my meals to about 100% of my meals. One of the most important intellect skills to do, even though this is an alchemy skill, meal logging is a process of focusing on nutrition. It's very, very important as far as psychologically having that, developing the habit and analyzing how much accuracy and consistency you have when it comes to logging your meals, because that is going to determine a lot of the data that you have if you are tracking data, for us to be making adjustments and pinpointing reasons why you might have lost weight and reasons why you might not have lost weight. So having that level of awareness is going to be essential on a week-to-week basis, and especially on the day-to-day basis when you are making nutritional decisions when it comes to the meals that you're deciding to have, the quantity of the foods that you have on your plate and things like that. And of course, making sure you're hitting your protein intake, which is going to be essential so you don't lose muscle mass. It's much harder to gain muscle than it is to lose it, or should I say lose body fat. So it's much more difficult to gain muscle. So all that being said, when it comes to objective wise, so we basically just want to maintain meal logging completion of 100%. So that's about it. So the only change for intellect is increasing the amount of strength training and weight training workouts that I'm doing for the week. Again, adding 1 additional workout on top of the 2 that I was able to accomplish for the week. And that is a checkpoint. I'd say checkpoint 1, week 1 of the Warrior Gauntlet, minus 1%. Oh, forgot body weight over here. Body weight per week challenge. I hope you had some insights to diving into how we break down the weight loss progress for each warrior at Infinite. Hopefully you learned a couple things that I was doing in that process, as well as also getting a little bit excited for the results as well. But it's not all about me here, it's about you. I'm doing this competition and this challenge, of course, to get myself back to where I used to be, in a place where I enjoy and I love the body composition that I have, but at the end of the day, I'm doing this to teach and motivate you to do what I'm doing here as well, because you could be doing the same exact thing as well. So if you want to lose 1% of your body weight per week in this challenge like me, then feel free to head into the description below, hit the link, join our challenge. You have nothing to lose. So you can either lose weight in the next 3 to 4 weeks and get closer to your weight loss goals, or you can lose the most amount of weight that you ever had in a single month. So jump into the challenge, give it a try as we go into dark mode. Ooh, that's a sign. And join me in Infinite's Warrior Gauntlet Challenge. I'll be seeing you next week for the week 2 checkpoint as I go over and go deeper into more of the skills that I'm developing, as well as the physical changes in the before and after pictures as well. So look forward to that, and look forward to guiding you on your Infinite Warrior adventure as your wizard. I'll see you at the next video. Take care.